Update time with Brianna. This is the second build update. Not much has changed, aside from, catching up on some maintenance. Some local guys handled that. 4R75 needed a rebuild. It literally lost reverse when I pulled inside the lot. I'm not surprised. I figured the 4R was on its last legs. It took forever to go into gear, and it just did not feel good at all. But got a new transmission cooler. Got to replace that headlight. Actually, I'm not going to be doing anything with this car for a long time. This is way too big of a project for me, and it's not. Yeah, I got to get it registered out of state. Core support's been slightly repaired, so it's not rubbing up against the trans cooler anymore. Thank God. This core support that I'm going over now, this thing was fucking terrible. It was like all the way up to here at one point. Whoever owned, it was either the guy I bought this from, very sketchy, or perhaps the cab company downstate. They bottomed this thing out real bad. You can even see that's all bent. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's all bent. I'm not worried about the bumper cover, but a little bit of surface rust on the rockers. It's all solid. I mean, for a car with 330,000 spending its life downstate as a taxi, it's really not terrible. Door weather stripping is destroyed. It doesn't really have a good seal. It's all dried out. It doesn't really hold its shape. So then whenever it rains, I got to peel this back. I mean, I just did it earlier in the week as it rained, so you don't really see it now, but this all has to get replaced. It's also missing weather stripping here, so I get leaks. Thankfully, it doesn't dump it below the floor. It dumps it onto the rubber floor mat, so not a big deal there. This is the only area I have an issue with. It's supposed to be some sealing here, and there's tons of missing weather stripping. Just got to think there's supposed to be a piece somewhere in here, and this door, yeah, you can even see this door weather stripping is really not. It's not holding its shape too good. So what happens? It dumps water. So it might even be coming from the cowl. I wouldn't be surprised. It dumps it down to over here. So, I mean, the floors are real solid. See, but see, it's not good for the carpet. There's just dirt and shit down here. It's pretty nasty. But yeah, we were trying to fix a PATS issue with this car. We initially thought it was related to this area here with it checks the code on the key and then what's stored in the ECM, but it wasn't the case. And then we figured, well, we're going to be swapping a digital dash in this thing later. A lot of this wiring wasn't us, though. A lot of this wiring mess was previous owner, and there's still some remnants of some of it somewhere. We took as much of it out as we could. I just moved the airbag on the steering wheel. Move the airbag here. Didn't really see a point. Saved 30 pounds between the airbags and the rocker trim. Let me get a crank him. You can hear this thing. Now you'll hear why I don't drive this car very far. Heard a little... Not the exhaust. The exhaust is the one you hear in the background. You'll hear rod knock soon. Now, I don't normally buy cars with rod knock. That's not smart, because I don't like replacing engines. What happened with this car... The cat on the driver's side, the front one. This cat right here was hollowed out. Yeah, I can see the whole exhaust rattling too. It needs new. I will eventually go through this entire exhaust, proper headers, no cats, no mufflers. Standard. I don't give a fuck setup. Now that rattling is the exhaust. That's not the rod knock. But I know why this cat and such was hollowed out. I'll put this in a little close so you can hear it. Probably hear a little bit of rod knock. That's not piston slap. Piston slap, from what I've seen, that's more of an issue with the LoPo 302s with a 1.5 firing order, and that goes away once you build oil pressure, and it doesn't change with RPM. Now here, listen carefully as I make it rod knock for ye. Hear that? Yeah, I figured it's rod knock. Oh, my glove box didn't stay closed. That's lovely. I should probably close that at some point. I will do that now. So, you figure, yeah, this was kind of a stupid purchase. Yeah, you're probably correct. I bought this car for $300, and then I had to get it towed because it didn't have plates. Guy who I bought it from took the plates off before I picked up the car. Very sketchy. Not surprised, though. Good enough. Yeah, these glove boxes are retarded just like the boxes. Not running that anymore. But there we go. Set the parking brake. You know, it's definitely not the greatest purchase I've ever made. It's got more issues. You like this paint. I also notice all the holes on the roof. Not all those are from the taxi wiring. You also know it's a P7A because after, I think by 2010, they changed the designation in the VIN. P7A. P7A referred to the long wheelbase, basically putting a town car frame underneath the Crown Victoria body and then stretching the rear doors. Notice how much longer this rear door is compared to that one, that front door. That's why I bought this car. I like the P7As. This is the only whale I would really buy, except maybe Grand Marquis, but yeah. Taxi Medallion used to go there. This guy had a bunch of aftermarket antennae. He even had can't really see him anymore, but he had suction cup mount strobe lights all the way across this dash. He had grill lights. Notice how there's some of these are cut. Yeah. How there's a lot of overspray too. Didn't even paint the car properly. He literally had Rust-Oleum black spray cans in the car. I think there were 6, and 4 of them were completely empty. So yeah, I mean, he put it on pretty thick there. Doesn't really matter. I mean, there's no base coat or primer or nothing underneath. You're painting paint over paint, so it's just going to come off. But a lot of the parts I mentioned earlier. This is for the power steering. This was not replaced. Stock power steering cord was too small. I wanted it replaced. This didn't happen. Chloe's timing chain, that didn't get done. Water pump didn't get done. Belt didn't get done. So that's why it's still got a bit of a squeak. They probably got to do the tensioners too. LED taillights, I really like these. These didn't get done. New headlights. I forgot what's in this box. These are actually KYB McPherson struts for the front. And this is the transmission pan. Now I find it weird that the transmission pan didn't get replaced. Because I had the guys locally take the transmission out and then bring it to my specialists out in Webster. But, you know. Oh well. I forgot. Now, the maintenance that I got done on this car. Got these 17-inch Steelies mounted. Riken Raptor 255 50R17s. These are awesome. I've gone very fast with these. You gotta warm them up, of course. Pretty good tread wear, though, for what they are. I mean, and as you can see, you got plenty of clearance under here. No issues fitting. KYB McPherson strut, not to be confused with their shocks. The fronts of these actually have kind of a poor man's coilover setup. They call them loaded shocks. So, obviously, you can't just run a McPherson strut at the front. But at the back, see, they've got your coil spring and your McPherson strut. These are great. I really like these. I also like my Edco rear sway bar. Polyurethane bushings and all. Very nice. New lines and hoses for various things, and pads, calipers, rotors. I think I have Hawk HPS pads on this. Let me see. I don't know. They might. Yeah. Yep, they're the HPS pads. The calipers were alright. They were still in spec. Or if they weren't, they replaced them with something. I don't remember everything they did on this car. New control arms. I basically had the entire front and rear suspension checked, and then anything that needed to be replaced was. Would have had them do an Adco front sway bar, but that didn't even ship out until a couple days ago. So I've had this car since mid-October, approximately. That's when I got it back. So also note the surface rust. This is why I don't like rocker trim on Panthers. Even these later ones, they got this stupid plastic shit. You can even see I left the clips on there. You know, it does. I have a video posted at the end of this. Actually, no, there'll be a video earlier showing why you need to take off your rocker trim if you have a Panther. Even these later ones, the plastic trim, they trap dirt and water and leaves and shit, and it gets all caked up around here. That's why, you know, this was all yellow at one point. But see down here, it's already missing some paint. It's got a little bit of surface rust. I mean, it's all solid. Like, I wouldn't... A little scabby there. It's solid, though. Trust me, I know what solid versus scabby feels like versus rusted out. Real nice rockers on. Nice frame, too. You can eat off of most parts of this frame. Not that I recommend doing so. The things probably taste like garbage. Kind of like this car. More surface rust. The pass side's actually slightly worse. It's got some up in the lower door jams. It's not bad, though. I mean, for 2011 with 330,000 taxi miles, you could do a lot worse. Let's go around the other side. Oh, this is why I want. Another reason I wanted to replace the LED taillights. Yeah, this bumper cover is going to be replaced. It's just not. It's seen better days. Delete the badges too. Get rid of that Ford badge and the Flex Fuel badge. Yeah, you can even see here. I literally think they just epoxy or super glued this piece back. I mean, look at this. It's supposed to be a little more solid than that. Wheel wells are good though. That's one thing I like about the 03 Plus Panthers. They don't have the little arch that comes out here, or the inner arch, so you don't really get any water trapped there. I mean, yeah, it's kind of, you can even see where it starts to separate from the body. This thing was hit pretty good at one point, but real clean in here though. Far better than most, even by now. More evidence that this thing was trashed, or not trashed, but it was crashed around a little bit. It's supposed to be totally straight, goddammit. That's actually kind of a hazard. That somehow tires or wheel somehow slides out. It's gonna get hit by that piece of metal there. Oh well. What am I missing? Oh yeah, I gotta do the. Yeah, I gotta show you the rocker panels and also missing weather stripping. Not surprised. Like the guy who painted this car and the guy who owned it before me was a complete jackass. Very sketchy, and also just like this is so stupid. No, the only issues I really had with the place that did work on this car locally after I got it, I told them to check all the weather stripping and replace it if necessary. I even included the trunk seal for them, but as you saw, that never got replaced. A lot of this wiring was already kind of hack jobbed, and you know, like you can see down and up over there. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit for you. Yeah, it's kind of a rat's nest, but it's all. I mean, it's all there. Let me get a better. See, yeah, this probably is where they started to buy. This is tweaked up. This should be totally straight. It shouldn't be up like that. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, they bottomed this thing out pretty bad. You saw how bad the core sport was in the front. You know, these cars have pretty good ground clearance, and they bottomed this thing out so good that it tweaked all of this. I mean, that's not okay. You can see it, like it's not aligned. You can see where one of it just got pushed up. It's all solid though. I mean, I don't feel around there. I mean, there's one side that no, this isn't rusted. This is just broken. Let me see if I can get a better angle on the other side for you. See, it's all solid. I mean, there's really nothing structurally unsound about this. It's just very, very damaged. I mean, it doesn't affect how the car drives. Needs alignment. Probably also needs more suspension parts replaced. It's got rubber bushings. Some of them are still original to the car. Let me do the front here before I forget. Yeah, see, there's normally they call it a scuff plate. It also helps. Well, it'd be best to not have any holes in this, but if you're going to have holes in it, have a scuff plate there. And you can see where this weather stripping was cut. It's not how it's supposed to be. This is quality repair. Yuck. Door jams look good though. Real good. I vacuumed it out when I got it. There wasn't too much stuff down in the corner of the fender there. There's just little sticks and leaves. Not really much at all. And most of it just came apart as the suction from the vacuum cleaner dragged them out. Real nice rocker. Real. And see even here. Got a weird dent there. It's all solid. You can even see though. You know, this was painted at one point. See the little remnants of the yellow paint up there? But because Ford put a fucking plastic rocker trim that trapped water all around it. That's why the whales will get rust on their rocker panels, just like the older cars did. I don't know why that rocker panel trim was there. It looks really stupid. And yeah, it's only 5 pounds per side at this point because they made it plastic. Also, this was already starting to peel, so I just ripped it as far as I could. This are coming off on both sides. There's no reason to have it there. It's another water trap. Nice little, you can even see it. This camera is not really the greatest, and you can, yeah, I got a little bit back there too. This is the worst. I'm not even looking at it. You can run your hand right there. A lot of weird little dents and dings in this car. I mean, it wasn't terrible by today's standards, but it's certainly for $300. Yeah, this is more taxi wiring and miscellaneous stuff. It's got a bunch of. You can even see, or you can't really tell, but this is slightly bowed, especially over here. You feel it right here. It's bowed in. This is probably hammered in, or wasn't really yanked out. Probably. See how there's bare metal here? Not smart. I don't even think they dropped the headliner on this car, because the headliner is pretty tight. Ugh. I mean, yeah, it's a little poofy and bouncy in the middle, but it doesn't feel like it's ever been apart. I mean, yeah, a little bit right there, but what the heck? What is that doing there? All right, that's weird. This rear seat's going to be removed. Probably won't come back. So I'm going to get a 6-point cage. And then these already had pretty good frames from the factory, but I imagine there's more chassis bracing and or boxing, whatever you want to call it. Cowl. Yeah, a little dirty. Sorry. But we really want to see where the issues are with this car. Right here. Look at the panel gap. Look at how tight it is up here to the point where it rubs. There's some rubbing. You really see it this way too. It's not. It's like they didn't even try. The fact that you saw how bowed the core support. Also, look at how the bumper doesn't really line up. Yeah, $300 car, but still, like this is. They literally just must have hammered and I don't know what the hell they did to make this fit properly, because it should not be that big of a gap right there. Should all be nice and, I mean, it shouldn't be pushing up against it, but it should be tight. This is way too big of a gap. That is not okay. But I just wish I was able. I just wish the Adco front sway bar got here, because they did the front suspension. They did tie rods and or what's it called? I should know this. CV joint, control arms. Ugh. Get under here. Ugh, still got the rubber body mounts. These are destroyed. The front ones aren't as bad as the rears, but they're really not good. Nice frame though, real nice. Even I'll do the past side so you can see the bulkhead. Even the whales will rust out there. Yeah, still got the original front sway bar with the extremely crappy rubber bushings that probably aren't doing much beyond jack shit. New loaded shocks, also known as poor man coilovers. Upper, lower, new bushings and stuff. Yeah, they don't have poly bushings, but I think I only paid about $1,600 or $1,700 for the front and rear combined. I think the front was $1,000 and the rear was like $680 or so. So yeah, I mean, for all the wear items in the front to be replaced, it definitely drives better. This car still has a really annoying feeling though. I'm sure other people who drive 03 Pluses know it feels nervous on entry. And the fact that even with parts that are in spec and some mild upgrades, like the McPherson struts and the from KYB in the back and the Adco rear sway bar, it just doesn't feel like it wants to take a line. I mean, it will grip through the turns pretty good, but I just don't have that all-conquering confidence that I had in my Grand Marquis. And also notice this. Oh my god, what is that doing there? Yeah, you think this car is bottomed out a little bit? You can even see the core support's still slightly bowed on the bottom. It's not as bad as it was. It's much better. Actually, I give the local shop credit for doing what they did. They figured we don't need to replace this. Just take off these bolts here, heat it up a little bit, and then just bang it out. It was really bad before. I can't stress that enough. Just slide over. Same deal on the pass side. Lower control arms, CV joint, upper control arm. Yeah, this sway bar is bad. What the heck is this? Is this sway bar taped? They literally taped the sway bar. Oh my god. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this sway bar's bent. Oh well, good part about this is that they reproduced these bumper covers. This would have to be hammered out, and you know, they want it painted anyway. You can even see how there's missing paint, but there's not missing paint here. They bottomed this thing out. See it all, the bowing there, when it's all pushed up like that. My theory is, being used as a taxi cab, driving around, doing its thing. Somebody hits it from behind. Explains this. I mean, that was a pretty hard hit. You can even see where the try to epoxy and tape over this, and it's just, yeah. This is why this is one of the few cars I own that I not only leave the keys inside the car, but I leave the keys inside the ignition system. I don't know why they bother with theft-proof stuff like passive anti-theft on this car. You don't need it. The car is such a pile of gobbledygook and poo that no one in their right mind would steal it.